to my guest, Liovian. We're going to sit, but just
Yes.
a formal welcome. Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Thanks for
I
having
always
me.
say, entrepreneur or having your own business, your time is limited. So I think I really appreciate mommy and someone that is a wife and someone that has own business to take some time to speak to us. So
Thank you.
welcome. And
Thank you.
yeah, let's
Thanks, everyone.
have a chat quickly. Yeah, so like I said, it's quite informal. So Liovian, where do we start? So I think my first question I'd like to ask you is, you were in a professional environment, you were in the corporate environment. Give us that mindset change of why we started the business.
Yes.
And then thereafter we can just go a bit into the personal life of being an entrepreneur and using your time split as a mother, as a business owner, and as a wife.
Sure. I think it takes me back to our first conversation on the couch,
Yeah.
the village guy.
Yeah.
When I was interviewed, I think it was 2018, when I formally stepped out of the corporate industry, or decided to step out and just embark on this incredible, difficult journey. So I was in the corporate industry until 2017, where the bug just bit, and I was toying around with the idea of just stepping out and becoming a full-time entrepreneur. My employer did not want to accept my resignation, but it was something that was in my heart and something that I knew that I had to just do for myself. And the journey started in my household. I mean, it started with Joshua, as I shared with you previously, where my son just refused to eat vegetables. And it became a nightmare. It became a constant fight between mom and son. I think Joshua was about 4, going on 5 at the time. And it was a continuous fight, and having to travel, taking the train early morning, coming home, making an effort to at least make a healthy meal for my family, because everything was rushed. You leave home late or early in the morning, you come home late at night, and then you have this boy crying. He doesn't want to eat the veggies, and my husband is in the background. It's fine, leave him. When I was small, I just had a cup of coffee, and it's okay. I didn't die, I'm fine. And in the same year, I think my daughter was grade R or grade 1, and a friend of hers had cancer in her class. And for me, that was just an eye-opener, and I just decided, you know what, I'm going to force you. If it's something that you don't want to eat, we're going to have you drink the juice. And it worked, and that's how Raw Squeeze started. And I had my first market May, June of 2017. And yes, and I just decided to step out and resigned in December 2017.
Cool. So we are 4 years old this year.
Is it?
Yeah. Doesn't it feel like it? So just
Are we counting 2020?
Yeah.
No, are we?
Yeah, so just tell me a bit about the mindset. So, of course, you had this discussion with your spouse, of course, and I don't think anybody's going to do that without the support of the spouse. Yeah, and then stepping out of the corporate, what's the first thing of course, where do you get the name? How did you, because when people start the business, they spend more time with the logo and the name and the website and the social media. Tell us a bit about that journey, stepping out first day. Okay, so now I'm unemployed and I don't have any clients. I don't have a product yet.
And I don't have any money.
And I don't have any money. Tell us a bit about that journey.
So it was, I think it wasn't something that I just lightly decided upon. It wasn't, oh, I'm going to be rich, I'm going to be the next millionaire. I'm so far from that, mind you. It was something that, it was a long discussion. It was evenings of tears, frustration. I was toying around. I was uncertain because I was offered a better salary to stay at my company. And I said, it's not about the money. They even gave me, and it was before COVID, and they said you can work remotely. We don't mind if it's the traveling, the commuting from Paarl to Cape Town. We can work something out. We can offer you a better salary. You can take the corporate vehicle. I said, it's not that. And it was just something, and I told Kirby, I said, my husband, I said, you know, what if I'm not obedient? What if I don't listen to step out and just go with what I believe was placed on my path? What if I never take this opportunity? And what if I'm never blessed? And what if I sit in my comfort zone? Because literally, having a monthly salary, having all those benefits, you know, Miles, your medical aid, your pension fund, it's a comfort zone. And I just had to make that decision for myself and lead by example, because being an entrepreneur is also an example to my children, because it's showing them that regardless of the circumstances, regardless of what's happening around you, you can follow your dreams, you can pursue, regardless of how difficult it might get. I mean, my kids have seen myself at my worst and at my best. So yes, it started with a conversation. It started with, and I still have tears. I still have moments of doubt, because especially in COVID as well, I had so many doubts. I had that voice saying, you shouldn't have resigned, look what you're putting yourself through. You know, but it's, at the end of the day, it's rewarding.
Okay. So we're getting into the flow of things. One of the questions I have is, of course, when you start this fresh produce brand that you have, there are already established competitors, and I mean, you're going to have to fight for certain space in certain fridges. How do you go about doing that? Because everybody wants to start something, and there's always someone doing it. And
already.
I mean, and established brands, and now you're fighting. How do you manage that?
Okay, so we started in 2018. Raw Squeeze, we collaborated with Fleet for a very short period of time. It was 6 months. We had a small coffee juice bar. It wasn't at all profitable, but there were so many lessons learned. It was a new facility, the Aqua Center in town. It was a new attraction, but it didn't receive as much traction as we would have liked. The rent was ridiculous, and we unfortunately had to close down October, end November. And then I thought, oh my goodness, as an entrepreneur here, my whole world is collapsing, it's falling down, and it's my whole dream. It hasn't even taken off, but it's already crumbling to pieces. And that was actually just the beginning of my story, because at the end of the day, I just realized, and I was just realizing, and God speaking to me saying, Raw Squeeze isn't a shop, Raw Squeeze isn't a store. And I just came to realization that I don't have to have a store where people can come and come and buy. So at that moment, I already had the bottled juices, but it was far from what it is at the moment. And I always say it's a work in progress. It's never, being an entrepreneur, it's always a work in progress. So 2019, March, we started our online store, where we had the online portal where people can order online. What was your question?
No, just for competition, because of course,
competition,
how do you manage that as a small
So
startup?
I've always known juicing is it's a trend, or it's, at least some people think that it's a trend. I believe it's a lifestyle. I don't believe it's a diet. I think it's just an healthy alternative to what we normally have, like your gas cool drink, your normal commercial juices. And I have received many no's from many big retail stores because I have approached many retail stores, and it was always a no.
Yeah, so I mean, like, how do you, that's also one of the questions, like, so how do you, as you're starting up and you've got these big dreams, when doors get closed in your face after, I mean, when do you just get up and do it again and get up? Because for me, it's like rejection. I want to shrivel up and die and say, I'm done with this, even if it's just the first one. But I mean, you've been doing this for 4 years. Speak me through just that
Yeah.
rejection feeling.
I have my moments where I think, and it's normal because we're all human, where you sit and feel sorry for yourself. But you know, we're in business. I mean, there's many of you that have experienced setbacks. And for me, it's, you know, for every 10 no's, there will be a yes somewhere. And you just maybe have to dig a little harder, work a little harder. And believe me, there's many nights where I cry and I'm frustrated and I don't know how I'm going to tackle the next day. But I've also believed, especially since last year, I made a conscious decision as an entrepreneur to just keep my eyes fixed on what I'm doing. And yes, I know there's so many entrepreneurs stepping out, wanting to do what they want to do. And especially in the juicing industry, there's the competition is real. There's really, and there's people with lots of money. There's people with massive facilities. And then I always ask myself, okay, you give 14 to 21 day shelf life. How do you do that? And where our produce are fresh, it's natural. And I comfort myself knowing that I can always tell my client there's a separation, it's all natural, everything that goes into our product is completely natural. And with all the no's that I've received from massive retailers, I've always just said, you know, I'm not going to compete or even try to compete with the bigger entrepreneurs or bigger people in the juicing industry, because I know mine is a limited shelf life, and what I'm providing is natural and it's all naturally sourced. So yeah, I've been asked to put preservatives in our products to extend the shelf life, but then I'm defeating the purpose, because then I cannot stand proud and tell our clients, you know, this is a raw, natural product that's good for you.
Yeah. So how do you go about approaching clients to get your stuff onto their shelf? So do you go knock on the door? Is it a cold calling thing, or how do we
in the beginning, Miles, it has really been just knocking on every single door, and just, I mean, marketing is so crucial and it's so important, but I've been literally knocking on many doors. And I've also realized within the space of 3 to 4 years, I've realized a raw juice is not everyone's, it's not for everyone's taste bud. And I've also learned to accept just that, you know. There's a lot of competitors, there's a lot of people that's doing the same thing. And I'm just going to row my boat and do what I need to do and just keep my eyes focused on what I'm supposed to be doing.
So what is the moment when you ran home and you told Kirby, your husband, honey, this is working, we've got something going here? What was that moment?
That moment was one Saturday morning in bed, actually. I think after our first market that we had at Reebokskloof. And then I realized, I think at my first market I sold 70 plus glasses. And then I said, you know what, I can see myself do this. There's a market, there's a need for this product in the market. You know, we can actually do this, but how? I have no idea how we're going to bottle, how we're going to do this. And then he said, well, it's easy. You get bottles, you start juicing, and it literally started in our kitchen. But there's so much that I still needed to learn, and that I continue to learn, because there's oxidation, there's HPP, there's so much about the product, and it's not just about juicing blending the juices
Yeah.
and just putting it all in a bottle to look nice and yeah.
Okay, so now we're on this journey. Liovian, I mean, Rose Squeeze is starting to create awareness and becoming a brand. When was the first time you employed someone?
Sure. Informally, I think at the market about 2 years ago. So I've always just been employed full time. I've been the bottler, the juicer, the labeler, the driver.
Yeah.
I've been everything, and then just on an informal basis when we had markets, because I sometimes had 2 to 3 markets.
Okay.
And then last year, yes, I started employing someone full time last year, but that's a struggle. I promise you. Yeah, finding reliable, committed people to live your brand is.
Yeah. And of course, you tell them the story of this is a new brand, it's a startup, and it's exciting. You can grow with the business, but they don't believe that.
No, they don't want to grow with the business. They don't want to start at the bottom and grow their way up. They want to start at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so average or normal daily life of Liovian as the entrepreneur.
The average day. What's an average day? Waking up, besides being a mom, wife, I think first just giving thanks for, where we've come, what's to come for the day, just proclaiming blessings upon our stockists. First of all, I think that's something very important that we do. Also, the premises where we are at the moment, just really being thankful for that, because it's been a massive blessing. And then just checking emails. I think that's the first thing.
So
that
we
I do.
don't make the juice anymore. We're not getting our hands dirty anymore.
No. It's still.
Oh, okay.
It's even more dirty. So I think with first checking emails, getting orders, checking our online store, and then producing, and then obviously checking in with the lady that's working for us at Spa, and then liaising.
What was the first retailer you got in there, and that you got your juices on the shelves? And just take me through that process of getting that, yes, Liovian, bring your stuff and we're going to put it on the shelf.
So I think the first people to stock our juices was my church.
Okay.
So it was the Rock Church, just up the road. And then OK Boulevard, Rembrandt Mall. So that was just after, I think I've sent them an email request in 2017, beginning of 2017, when we just opened up 2018, when we opened the coffee shop. And then we closed the coffee shop November, and I stocked at 2019, January.
All right.
Yeah.
So, as Rose Squeeze owner and founder, what's your definition of success? And was it the same when you started as an entrepreneur, and success your definition now when you're not getting your hands dirty?
I'm still getting my hands dirty. I will continue to get my hands dirty because I'm very set on what we put out to our clients and our stockists. I think success is also it's a continuous improvement. It's what success. I think for me, success is just to grow my business first of all, but also just to inspire and to motivate other like-minded people, and especially with a focus on our youth and the next generation, just to impact the next generation. That's so very important, and it's something that's very close to my heart.
Okay.
So for me, definitely, success is impacting the next generation and just
So, doing your own thing, doing the invoicing, doing all the getting hands dirty, doing the transporting, for me, I also experience it currently. It's very difficult to give someone else that responsibility because you've been doing it for so long and you don't know that person's going to do it and appointing. So how do you manage giving over that baton to someone, or have you never done it yet?
I think that's the most difficult part, being an entrepreneur and wearing so many hats on a daily basis, just in the business. I think the most hardest part for me is letting go and trusting someone else to do that. So there was a few mishaps, and then I just realized, and I actually, having interviewed someone now, and I've actually made a joke about it. I said, I need the recipe to clone myself. Not that I believe that I'm the best person for the job. Obviously, there will be someone that can do the job better than I am doing right now. But I think for me, I have a heart for people, and I love engaging with people. And I think that's the thing that's so difficult, is finding people to trust.
Yeah, but don't you think that that's maybe it minimizes your growth, because you have to do all these things, but you could be spending your time on growing the business.
I know.
Is that something that you're worried about?
I am, for sure.
Okay.
I am, because there's only so much that I can do in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Being a mom, doing homework, checking homework, being a wife, also making sure that my house is not falling apart, and just also making sure that all my stockists are happy, that the products are happy. Also retaining clients is one massive thing, and then making sure that I generate new business. So I am well aware of the fact that I only have two hands.
So let's talk a bit about the mindset of an entrepreneur, because of course it's always buzzing 24 hours. What do you do to take your mind off the business? And what do you do for personal growth? So there's a lot of business growth, and so what do you do? What do you do to relax? What do you meditate? What do you do to also have that personal growth?
Oh, bottle.
Hey?
Strong juice. I think for me it's so important to also invest in family time. And I think I definitely draw strength from spending time with my children, and just because I think they're my biggest cheerleaders. Joshua being the financial director, always wanting to know, Mom, how is the sales? Mom, what's happening? Kirsten, definitely the marketing director, because she's just on a whole different level, and she really shows capacity of marketing the product well. Especially when we had markets, she will take an ice lolly and you can get this, you can. So just spending time with family. I should invest more time in my own personal well-being. For example, training, working out. I've done that. I've stopped it also because I can't find the time. But just reading, and then just meditating. Trying to do yoga at home doesn't work, but trying, just relaxing, and obviously having a nice glass of wine is not bad for the heart. So, what are the big dreams for Raw Squeeze? I mean, so we say it's 4 years old if we count in last year. Okay, but how did you manage COVID? Let's speak about that. Sure.
As an entrepreneur, so what happened to the business? Was it? I mean, you didn't have markets. Give us a bit about that.
I think it was quite difficult. We ended 2019 on a high. We started 2020 on a high as well. Very good prospects, good markets lined up for 2020, and then COVID happened. But it's also a lot of growth, a lot of development within 2020. It also gave us some time to reflect on where we want to take the business, what's next, how we're going to change our outlook, what different products, different avenues, different approaches. So all the markets and a lot of our plans had to be postponed and put on ice. But it once again also showed me that it's nothing, because I can have, or as an entrepreneur, we can have so many plans, but it's not up to us to determine the outcome. That's because I'm sure we all have plans for our lives, but it's really, we've also just realized how things can change in an instant. So a lot has happened, also with a lot of things, many things being put on ice. A lot of new things developed where we had the opportunity within Spa to open up, and that happened in September of last year. We also entered into a new facility in Stellenbosch where we produce in bulk.
Nice.
So it's the whole juicery, whole setup. And we can definitely produce up to 500 liters per day if we want, or more. So it's really, and we've entered into new markets as well, which is a good thing. So there was a massive setback for our business, and I also, for the first 2-3 months, I didn't know what was going to happen. But I took time, I invested time with my kids to do homeschooling and just to revisit, what my passions are, because you can easily get lost in running a business and just lose focus. And I think I just refocused and just realized what's important for me and where we are headed. Yeah.
And then two questions just on, was there ever a time that you started looking for funding maybe to grow your business a bit? And then also any experiences like picking a partner, partnering up with people, lessons learned there, experiences there, just those two things?
Yeah, I was actually approached. First of all, I was assisted by Cape Winelands, the seed funding grant, which also came at the perfect time. I think it took about 2 years. It was, I don't know if you've had any experience, but I think they also struggled to find a service provider to manage the funds. And I always told myself it will come, it will happen when it happens. And then it actually materialized end of last year to beginning of this year, which was the perfect timing. Because, there was literally minimal business happening last year. So the funds was well received and well spent within my business.
What did we spend it on? Like, did we buy what?
So it was just for material.
Nice.
And just inventory, basically. Also, I was approached by an investor last year, November. Yeah, that was a massive learning curve.
Let's explain. Are you allowed to explain?
Yeah, I won't disclose who the.
Yeah, of course.
But it was a massive learning curve, because I was, and I used the example, it felt like I was stripped down naked, because I had to reveal so many things about my business, what's happening. And then I also, as I was gathering information, I went through my business plan that I wrote 2018, and I literally fell down laughing, because if I was an investor, I wouldn't have invested.
Yeah.
So really just revisit and rethink and redo. So it literally took me about a month or so to get all the information. And within this period of time, I realized, there's a lot of things in business that I am not for an investor. I still need to learn and re-look at things. Yeah, the approach has been I've been approached.
Yeah, so I mean, but how does it happen? Do they give you a call and say, hey, Liovian, we like your business, we want to give you money?
They
And-
sent me an email, a
Yeah.
formal email.
And
yes.
then how do you decide, okay, but I like the email, so I'm just going to give all my IP and all my information? I mean,
No, so it's a long process. You obviously need to send financials. They want to know where the business is at, what you're going to use the money for, why you need the money. But I've also realized, it might take me longer, and also what their percentage
Yeah.
share would be. Is it going to be a loan? Is it going to be how will we repay the money back? And I've also actually called my ex-colleague at my previous company, Westgrow, and I had this long discussion with him because I really have this relationship where I can share things with my ex-colleagues. We
Yeah.
are just a phone call away. And he gave me his 2 cents worth, and I actually realized that, maybe it will take me a bit longer. Having an investor or doing things on my own will take me a bit longer, but it's a decision as an entrepreneur that you need to know you are sharing a part of your business with your investor, and what is the purpose of, because I mean we can all waste other people's money.
yeah, yeah.
So, and obviously they want to see a return on investment. So, yeah.
And the partnering up, has there ever been an opportunity where you thought, okay, maybe I need a partner to help me with this? Have you had experience of that?
In terms of?
Like someone that you're partnering up with another business partner?
So there was Labit, where I
Yeah.
was, I think you also
Yeah.
know Labit. So I was part of the incubator
Okay.
program, where I also, in the beginning stages of Raw Squeeze, I did a presentation, and I was for a year or two, and we also had the coffee shop. It was a joint
Okay.
venture between Labit Fleet
Alright.
and Raw Squeeze.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one day when Liovian gets invited to a big entrepreneur gala in the CTICC, and Raw Squeeze banner is up there, and they're going to ask you three of the biggest challenges as an entrepreneur, and your 3 biggest lessons as an entrepreneur, and 3 reasons why you should become an entrepreneur.
I think the challenges are, for me, the fact that every day is different. And that's a massive challenge, because you never know what tomorrow might bring. It might be a good day, it might be a bad day, it might be an in-between day. But I see every opportunity as a challenge, every no as a challenge to overcome. So you want 3.
Okay, yeah. If there are 3, I mean, you can give one and then one.
I think that also finances, but also you don't need millions to start a business. You can have an idea, you can have, and you can just step out and do what you need to do to start your business. And I think another challenge is just maybe because of other people that or other businesses or entrepreneurs that might seem like they have it all together, and you think, I don't have all my all my animals in a cart, and everything is just a complete mess. And it's not, but I've learned it's also not as pretty as people want to put on social media. I've always told Kirby, I wish, because people don't even ask me how I'm doing. If they see me, like, I kan sien dit gaan goed met jou. Jou besigheid doen so goed. They don't ask me how I'm doing, because I'm still the person running everything. And people just assume, they see a wonderful post, it's going fantastic in the business. Ask me how I'm doing, what's happening in my life, how I'm coping, because I have a story to share. I have an experience, whether it's good or bad, it might inspire someone. So yeah, I think what people see on social media and everything is, yeah. So I've also just realized I cannot compare myself to the next person. I'm going to do, doesn't matter how slow my start is or how slow I go, I'm going to keep on rowing, I'm going to keep on swimming, even if I have to come up for air sometime, I'm going to keep on swimming.
Yeah.
Um,
And then what are the perks of being an
the
entrepreneur?
perks. I think it's just really enjoying and loving and having a passion for doing what you do, for getting up in the morning and just being an example to your children, and to other people also wanting to start a business. Having a support structure is definitely one of the biggest pluses, because without a support structure, it would have never been possible for me to do that. And I've also learned since last year that I'm not someone that can easily depend on people. It's something that I had to really learn the hard way. But whether it was asking someone, a family member, please fetch our kids from the school because we're still in Stellenbosch, we're busy producing, or we have a delivery, just counting on someone. And also in business, because I've realized I cannot do it all. There's only, my capacity is very limited as a small human being, but I am dynamite. So yeah, I think it's just basically relying on your support structure.
Okay. Okay, so we've got a lot of entrepreneurs here, or business owners, or aspiring business owners. Yeah, what's your advice for them? I mean, if they're sitting here, came here for a reason. They're coming to listen to Liovian's story. She's adding value. What can you tell them?
Just to step out and just continue to believe and pursue in your dream, because we all have something within us, a drive, and yeah, don't be discouraged regardless of how stormy the weather or the season might look. There's definitely always a rainbow at the end of COVID.
Yeah. Okay, Madam. Yeah. So I mean, of course, can I ask if some of the people have questions for you? I'm sure you would be able to add value. But yeah, thanks for your story. I mean, like I say, I get all my lessons from talking to other people. That's why I love it. Gives me some inspiration to do something else.